So good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the June 27th, 2023 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to ask Pastor Simmons if she would come forward to give us an invocation. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me, and thank you also for continuing to open your meetings in prayer. It's greatly appreciated, and God will be blessed, and you will be blessed by it. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege of being in Calvert County today. Thank you, Lord, for these folks who lead our people. We pray for wisdom and direction for all of them. We thank you, Lord, that your word says that the leaders who are in office are put there by you. And we thank you for that. We pray for a blessing upon everyone here today. We pray that ears will be open, that wisdom will be given, and that you will bless the proceedings today. Give the people what they need when they need it. Give the commissioners wisdom when they need it. Thank you, Lord, for their willingness to open these meetings in prayer to the Lord. And we just thank you and praise you for that. And we ask for a blessing upon all the proceedings today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you, Pastor Simmons. And Pastor Simmons comes to us today from Calvary Bible Church in Lesby. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda as presented. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda?
None.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have a couple of public service announcements this morning. Last week, we held our first public forum on the zoning ordinance update. I think we had about 120 people at that meeting last Thursday night. Just want to let everybody know there was some information out on Facebook and people got excited. This process, we're just starting. I wouldn't bet that we'll be done this time next year, although the director would greatly disagree with me. But we're going to take as long as it takes. This is the first time we've done a zoning ordinance update in 20 years, and it's an extensive on-take, and we're going to take our time. That night at the meeting, the director extended the comment period because she was hearing complaints about that. So anybody that is concerned, I ask that you just get involved. Reach out to planning and zoning, make sure you get notified of when they're going to be meetings and get all the information that you need. As I said, we're not going to rush this. We're going to take our time. So there's no need to get too concerned today. So also next week, we'll be celebrating Independence Day, the independence of this country. It's one of those days where we can truly celebrate. And, this country is the longest surviving democracy in the world. And while we're not perfect, we've never been perfect, it's still, in my opinion, the best place in this world as I've traveled around that I've ever seen, even with our flaws. So we need to take a day and celebrate all the sacrifices that were given in our past to make sure that we can celebrate and enjoy all the freedoms that we have. And lastly, this morning we got preliminary news that may have been a loss of life of a fireman in St. Mary's County at a working house fire. We can't confirm that right now, but there is some news out of Mechanicsville Fire Department that may have happened. So we would ask that you all keep them in your prayers. Our volunteers go out here every day and work for you all in your time of need, and not fully understanding that it may cost them their lives. And they do this for no pay and very minimal benefits. So when someone loses their life in an effort like this, we need to take a moment. So hopefully, maybe that's not true, but if it is, truly want to keep them in your prayers. So that brings me to proclamations. Our first proclamation is for Calvert Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. Commissioner Ireland.
Go ahead, Joe Cormier.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier, and I'm the chairperson for the Calvert Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. Today, it is my pleasure and my honor to recognize the spotlight winners of the 2023 CCAC Staff Appreciation Awards. Over 100 families nominated, almost 200 individual educators and support staff in the CCAC Awards this year. for their outstanding achievement in helping our children. And so we wanted to, celebrate them here with our community because they are helping set up our kids the best for the future. So we want to thank you for allowing us to have this proclamation. I've sent you our presentation. We provided your staff with all of the nominations for all of the educators because it was a very tight race this year as our judges were trying to decide who was going to be the spotlight winner in each category. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to invite the staff who are here to come up and introduce themselves and come up for the picture. So Desmond Creek, Allison Switzer, help me out here, Ashton, Kim Jackson, Elizabeth. So if you were one of the CCAC winners, please
Come
up
forward
here.
if you would, introduce yourselves at the mic and come up here and we'll
And
get a
the
picture.
families who nominated as well, if you're here, if you can come up for the picture as well, thank you. Gwenda Hensel, come on up.
Hi, I'm Kim Jackson. I'm a special education teacher at Calvert Elementary School, and I work with Denise Lennon and Elizabeth Tavy. They're in my classroom. Oh, okay.
I'm Allison Schweitzer. I'm a speech pathologist at Mutual Elementary School.
Hi, I'm Gwendy Hensel. I'm a special education teacher at Calvert Middle School.
Any of the families here?
Keep them coming. We have plenty of room and we can go back behind the commissioners as well.
You don't have to speak, just go with me. She wants you in the. You've done this so many times. This is like, do I need to introduce myself?
Please.
I'm Kristen Sneed, Assistant Principal at Calvert Elementary School, and I have the opportunity to work with these wonderful ladies every day.
And we have Director Anderson, the Director of Special Education, and Janet Stephenson, one of our supervisors, and Ashton Nelson, the Secretary for CCAC.
Want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ashton Nelson. I'm the Secretary for Calvert CCAC.
I'm Kendi Anderson. I'm the Director of Special Ed in Calvert County.
Janet Stephenson, I'm a supervisor for special education.
Craig Jewett, Assistant Principal, Calvert Middle.
Becky Bowen, Principal of Calvert Middle.
Okay, I guess that's Joe. Is that everybody? You got a nice showing this morning. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to read a proclamation. Whereas Calvert County acknowledges the significance of parental or guardian involvement in their child's education, the Calvert Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee provides a platform for parents or guardians to directly provide feedback and input to the Director of Special Education and the Calvert County Board of Education. And whereas Desmond Creek, physical education teacher at Calvert High School, received the Spotlight Award in the category of individual other support staff. And whereas Allison Schweitzer, speech and language pathologist at Mutual Elementary School, received the Spotlight Award in the category of individual direct service providers. And whereas Gwenda Hensel, special education teacher at Calvert Middle School, received the Spotlight Award in the category of individual special education teachers. And whereas Kimberly Jackson, special education teacher, Denise Lennon, Elizabeth Tabby, and John Prince, instructional assistants at Calvert Elementary School, received the Spotlight Award in the individual education plan team category. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners extend their sincerest congratulations to the 2023 Calvert CCAC Staff Appreciation Award winners Desmond Creek, Allison Schweitzer, Gwenda Hensel, Kimberly Jackson, Denise Lennon, Elizabeth Tabby, and John Prince. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners expresses gratitude to these educators and support staff of Calvert County Public Schools for their dedicated service to the children with disabilities. Given under a hands and seal this 27th day of June, 2023. Signed by all 5 county commissioners. Thank you. So I actually had the opportunity to attend the awards ceremony, and it was a very neat experience. It's one of the few things where the parents actually, as Joe said, get to nominate all these award winners. So it was neat to see those families there and to be able to present the awards to these recipients. Thank you all for what you do. I want to say one more thing. Joe Cormier put all this together. He has a team, obviously, that helps him do it. But a lot of time and effort goes into that. And you're appointed to a state committee now, is that correct?
I am the Maryland State School Safety Advisory Board.
Congratulations. Thank you for doing what you do, Joe.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all very much for what you do. You're welcome. Thank you.
Oops, sorry.
So our next proclamations for state championship recognition, Commissioner Grasso.
Can we have Coach Coffey and Principal Morton come to the microphone, please? And if there are any more, please come forward. And also, our superstar, Dominion Jacobs, please come to the microphone. Want to say a few words?
I'm Beth Morton, and it's exciting to be back here again. I'm the principal at Huntingtown High, and I have had the honor and pleasure to be Dominion's principal since he was in elementary school when I was at Plum Point Elementary. So being with him and his family for this journey is just amazing.
Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Coach Coffey, the head coach, and Dominion's going to introduce himself here in just a minute. But one of the things I want to say, it's not just one coach. It's all of our assistant coaches at Huntingtown. It's the administrative staff. It's his family. It's his AAU coaches, and he's getting ready to introduce his village that has helped him get through the 4 years of high school. He's done a phenomenal job. Not only is he going to be represented today as individual state champion, but he's also been on 3 state championship teams at Huntingtown. So at this time, Dominion, you introduce your village.
Hello, my name is Dominion Jacobs. I'd like to thank my head coach, Coach Coffey. I'd like to thank my AAU coaches, Coach Kenny, other Coach Kenny, Coach Ben, Coach Greg, and my parents, Tracy Jacobs, Percy Jacobs, and my uncle Ronald Brown. I just like to thank them for the hard work they did to me, pushing me all the time to be great. And that's all. Thank you.
Would the family and the other coaches like to come forward, please? Okay, I'd like to read the proclamation. Whereas the youth of Calvert County represent our most treasured resource, and whereas the personal achievements, accomplishments, and service of these young citizens deserve the recognition and praise of their elders, and whereas Dominion Jacobs from Huntingtown High School won the 2022-2023 Maryland Public Secondary School Athletic Association 3A State Track and Field Champion in the 110-meter high hurdles and the 300-meter intermediate hurdles. And whereas Dominion was the MPSSAA 3A South Region Track and Field Champion in the 110-meter high hurdles, and he set 2 new school records in the 300-meter intermediate hurdles, and as a member of the 400-meter relay, and I just have to say, wow. Congratulations. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners wishes to pay tribute to Dominion's dedication, many long hours of practice, exemplary performance, and accomplishments. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that congratulations and best wishes for continued success are hereby extended to Dominion Jacobs on his many athletic achievements. Be it further proclaimed that by this action, we have faith in the ability of today's youth as they assume their role in society. Given under our hands and sealed this 27th day of June 2023, signed by all 5 county commissioners. Congratulations.
Dominion, earlier, Commissioner Grassler said she thinks that she can take it.
Oh, yeah. Since I got my new hip. Congratulations.
Hold on, one more.
Congrats, more photos. That's what you should say that from now on.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang on, Dominion.
You guys look like the four. Just a countdown of the day. Congratulations.
You tried to race him, didn't you? That's what happened, right? Yeah.
He got you.
Don't make that mistake again.
Congratulations, good job.
If you guys do somebody for about 10 feet, I'm on 10 feet, I come out the gate flying. 10 feet? No, it took me 2 feet.
Are you going to go over those 10 hurdles?
I'm going around
You too.
but it's so fast, it looks like I went over.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach. So our next proclamations for National Home Ownership Month, Commissioner Cox.
And who do we have here today from the realtors? Michael, yeah, come on up to the microphone and introduce yourself. And he's out selling.
That's okay, you're in charge.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Rachel Broderick. I am the Calvert County Director for the Southern Maryland Association of Realtors. I'm here on, I guess, complete behalf of the association this morning to accept this proclamation, which we're very happy to receive, not only on behalf of the almost 2,000 members of our trade organization that we have, but also the homeowners and prospective and hopeful homeowners that we have and service all throughout Calvert, St. Mary's, and Charles County.
Thank you. Come on up.
Thank you.
So we appreciate all that you do for everybody to do a home ownership. So proclamation reads as this: whereas the month of June is widely celebrated as National Homeownership Month, recognizing the significance of housing in our lives, members of the Southern Maryland Association of Realtors have been dedicated to promoting and facilitating home ownership in Calvert County for over 50 years. And whereas, regardless of whether one owns or rents, having a place to call home is essential for living with dignity and nurturing our families. National Home Ownership Month serves as a reminder of the value of home ownership, which is central to American dream and the foundation of economic well-being and an international well-building. And whereas we celebrate over 83 million Americans who are proud property owners nationwide, and we acknowledge the efforts of those striving to achieve the dream of home ownership. We are also mindful of the current challenges facing the housing market, including an inventory crisis, exorbitant house costs, which require concerted efforts to address. And whereas National Home Ownership Month provides the opportunity to reaffirm our support of homeowners everywhere and to commit ourselves to removing barriers and expanding access to affordable housing, thus helping citizens realize the American dream. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County hereby proclaim the month of June as National Homeownership Month in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners express gratitude on this occasion to renew our commitment to supporting homeowners and working tirelessly to enhance accessibility and address the challenges faced by aspiring homeowners in Calvert County. Given under the hands of seal this 27th day of June 2023, signed by all county commissioners. We thank you for all you do.
And last but not least, it's Parks and Recreation Month. Commissioner Hart?
Okay, and who do we have to get the ball rolling here?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Linda Jones, Event and Marketing Coordinator for Calvert County Parks and Recreation. Since 1985, people in the United States have celebrated Park and Recreation Month in July to promote building strong, vibrant, and resilient communities through the power of parks and recreation, and to recognize the more than 160,000 full-time park and recreation professionals, along with hundreds of thousands of part-time and seasonal workers and volunteers that maintain our country's local, state, and community parks. In Calvert County, that equates to over 300 employees and hundreds of volunteers. This year's theme, Where Community Grows, celebrates the vital role park and recreation professionals play in bringing people together, providing essential services, and fostering the growth of our communities. Calvert County offers facilities and services for all residents and visitors, regardless of age or ability. Swim lessons, pickleball leagues, summer camps, social clubs for those with a disability, special events for humans and dogs, guided hikes and chest pack programs with schools, soccer, basketball, animal care and raptor research, foot golf, beach gatherings, and an ice cream or two, along with facilities for the community to grow in their own way. My fellow park and recreation professionals and I are here today to represent our department. We are proud to serve Calvert County and take great joy in the positive impact we have on the lives of our community every day.
Great. Is there anybody
Oh, yeah.
who's coming down today? Let's get everybody up. Let's get.
I got a posse.
Good morning. Good morning.
Shannon Nazal, Director of Parks and Recreation, and I come bearing more gifts to make sure you're very stylish this summer. It should. You'll be okay. So I'd like everyone from our team that is here today to come on up, introduce yourself and what you do with the department, and then we'll come up front. I'm very proud of this team. As Linda mentioned, we have over 300 folks within our department, and everyone is essential to making this community a better place.
So you're Natty's mom?
I am Natty's mom.
Good morning, Jessie Oberite, Volunteering Grants Coordinator for Parks and Rec.
Karen Molinas, Division Chief for Natural Resources.
Good morning, Nate Smith, Recreation Division Chief.
Good morning, Jordan Daly. I'm the Park Manager at Ward Farm Park in Dunkirk.
Good morning, Ken Geyer, Recreation Systems Analyst.
No, you don't worry about us.
I'm Kimberly Curran, and I'm a naturalist with Natural Resources.
Good morning, Aquatic Division Chief Brooke Barco.
Good morning, Park Manager, Flag Ponds Nature Park, Brian Buzzard.
Good morning, Donna Mendelaire, CSA Pool Aquatic Center.
Good morning, Brian Hogan, Park Superintendent.
Good morning, Brian Sunderland, Park Supervisor, Cove Point Park.
Good morning, Zachary Bricky, Aquatic Facility Manager.
Good morning, Mike Moore, General Manager, Chesapeake Hills Golf Course.
We might need the big guys in the back.
Good morning, Christopher Fink, course ranger at Chesapeake Hills.
Come on back. Good morning. Yeah, we need to talk people.
Gary
back.
Silver, pro shop
I see
attendant.
some shorter people coming. They're gonna be in trouble.
Sharon Hudson, office specialist at the Aquatic Center.
Good morning, Detoria Jacks, business manager.
Good morning, Beth Woodyard, in the office aide.
Good morning. My name is Taylor Morton, Sports Assistant Coordinator.
Good morning. My name is Mark Lindberg, sports coordinator.
I'm Chris Culp. I'm a park ranger at Breezy Point.
Good morning, I'm Kirsten Perry, and I'm Special Facilities Division Chief.
Good morning, Harry Brown, Chesapeake Hills Golf Course.
Good morning, Bob Branham, Deputy Director.
Mercy. Got to get a bigger room.
Yeah.
So before I read this, you guys know I'd be lying if I didn't say my favorite place is the animal shelter, but right next to it is Parks and Recs. And you guys know I'm there all the time. Great group. I've never, ever, ever seen you guys. I'm sure it must happen, get upset, but you see us at our best and you see us at our worst. I mean, you know, sometimes I'm one of those bad dads hollering, that wasn't a hold. You know? And, you guys are out there, you touch everything. I mean, and it always looks great when I'm there. Everybody's so friendly. I mean, you guys just do an incredible job. And I've said it before, you touch everybody from birth to the end. I mean, we do everything, you know. I mean, there is something for everybody, and it's amazing. And I remember Shannon when she came up here, we were in a little bit of transition, you know, and trying to get, you know, stuff like clubhouses, and remember the half the grass grew and the other half didn't grow, and all this. I mean, there's always, it's action-packed, you know what I mean? And then, you know, Breezy Point has had its challenges, and you know, and it's just, it takes the whole team. It's so big. There's so much stuff that, so it's just incredible. And I sit out there all the time, so I am completely reliant on you guys, because you know, that, Mike, I don't mean to bother you, but, you know, you know, and so it's always good stuff. I got people sending me pictures of the clubhouse and stuff like that. So they are so enthused with what you guys do. They're so behind you, and I just thank you for everything that you do. So with all that, I want to read this. And I made them give me the ones that don't have a lot of names in them. They got tired of me butchering all the names, so it was pretty easy. So, all right. It says, whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Calvert County, Maryland, and vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas Parks and Recreations build healthy, active communities that provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, aid in the prevention of chronic disease, and help improve the overall mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas the Parks and Recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas ensure the beauty of our community, provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife, proving that these areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives have designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, which recognizes the parks and recreation professionals that maintain our county's local, state, and community parks. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Calvert County Board of Commissioners that the month of July be known as Parks and Recreation Month in Calvert County, Maryland. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners encourages all citizens to recognize the benefits derived from its vast parks and recreation resources, as well as the accomplishments and contributions to our local Department of Parks and Recreation, given under our hands and seal this 27th day of June 2023, signed by all 5 commissioners. Hold that there in the middle.
everybody. Thank you for what you do. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Is that right? What's that?
Congratulations.
I don't think so, but I'll get checked. Okay. It does, but I think on our flags it goes down. Have a great rest of the day. Yes, please. Yes. Guys, good seeing you as always. All right, y'all take care. Take care. Thank you. Yeah.
These are cute hats.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes. So the next item on the agenda is an award recognition. Commissioner Ireland.
Good morning, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ashley Brown, Chair of the Calvert County Government Employee Recognition Committee, here today to introduce our June 2023 Employee of the Month. Employee of the Month is a prestigious award which acknowledges individual excellence for superior job performance in the following areas: effective public contact, respect for fellow employees, quality or quantity of work, contributions toward organization morale, and actions that improve the county's public image. If you know someone that exhibits these high standards, you can nominate them online by filling out the digital form on the ERC website. By the way, anyone can nominate a coworker for Employee of the Month. Without further ado, the ERC is proud to announce that the June 2023 Employee of the Month from the Procurement Division of the Department of Finance and Budget is Procurement Specialist Taylor Smith. Taylor is being recognized for her quality and quantity of work while boosting organization morale. Taylor consistently provides optimal internal customer service by assisting other departments with the workday rollout. She is always willing to take a call, answer questions, and takes the time to train her colleagues through new processes. She demonstrates expertise in procurement policy and procedures and goes above and beyond to deliver instruction to ensure purchases are made in accordance with county policy. She does all of this with a smile. To say Taylor is an asset, and Taylor knows all about assets, to Calvert County government would be an understatement. She continues to demonstrate leadership and forward thinking during the county's transition. The ERC is delighted to join the Board of County Commissioners in recognizing our phenomenal coworker. Thank you, Taylor, for providing consistent, stellar service to Calvert County government, and thanks to Julie Machino for taking time to submit her nomination. Thank you, Board of Calvert County Commissioners, for your continued support of the Employee Recognition Committee and for partnering with us to recognize Calvert County government's remarkable workforce. People like Taylor make Calvert County government a great place to work. Congrats, Taylor. If there are any others here that might want to add something, you can speak now.
Forever hold your peace. I was just thinking that.
I heard we were assigning you workday.
She doesn't deserve
Well, we need to talk.
Bring it real down. I'm Charlotte DeStefano with the Procurement Office, and I'm reading something from Amanda Odell because she was unable to attend today, but I can say that from my heart, this comes from the whole procurement team. Although unable to attend personally, I wanted to take this opportunity to pass along my heartfelt appreciation for Taylor. Taylor is an exceptional employee who consistently goes above and beyond to provide outstanding service to both our internal and external customers. Her dedication and commitment to finding solutions regardless of the challenges presented, and her ability to navigate complex situations with grace and resourcefulness is an inspiration to us all. Her problem-solving skills and attention to detail ensure that every task is completed with the utmost precision and efficiency. She consistently demonstrates a strong sense of ownership and accountability, taking initiative to proactively identify opportunities for improvement. Taylor's unwavering commitment to excellence, unmatched problem-solving abilities, and exceptional interpersonal skills make her an invaluable member of the procurement team. Her positive attitude and friendly nature make her pleasant to work with, and her genuine care for both customers and coworkers shines through in every interaction. Taylor truly is a shining star within our division, and I speak for the entire procurement team when I say we are so grateful to have Taylor as a part of our procurement team, and her contributions continue to elevate our collective success. And we're so blessed to have you, Taylor.
Hi, I'm Sharon Strand, the Director of Finance and Budget. And just to add on to what Charlotte read, it's true. Taylor is an integral part of the procurement team. And it is also true that she always does have a smile on her face. And she's always willing to help and assist, and she has been an integral part for implementing Workday and digging in and figuring out our old procurement processes versus new. So I just want to thank her and the rest of the team for the implementation and assisting with Workday, but thank you, Taylor.
Anyone else?
Taylor, want to say anything?
So I just wanted to jump on and extend my personal congratulations for Taylor. She is a wonderful person inside and out. Taylor and I graduated high school together, which makes me that more excited to present her with this award. It is inspiring to see the successes of the kids we once were, and I look forward to seeing what other miracles you'll pull off. Congrats, Taylor.
All right, Taylor, it's your turn. You have a lot of thinking to do because they said an awful lot of nice stuff about you back there.
I know, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. As someone of the procurement division, I get the opportunity to work with every department, and these people are just so wonderful and make it such a joy to come to work. And I couldn't do it without the procurement team. They're some of the greatest people I've ever met, and I'm so happy they're in my lives. And just thank you, everyone, for your kind words, and to Julie, who nominated me, and everybody. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Come on up. Come on up. I'll tell you what, everybody from her department, come on up. We'll all get a picture together and recognize her for her hard work. Come on up, especially those of you who said all those nice words. And Taylor, here's your award. Employee of the Month. And I don't know what's in here. Do you want me to hold on to it, or you want to take it? Or all right.
I got it.
But Taylor, seriously, thank you on behalf of all the commissioners for doing what you do, and I'm glad DRC is recognizing you and your supervisors. Thank you.
We still have one person managing.
You're working on work day.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, one more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Get back to work. Oh, jeez. Oh. Dogs and puppies. I'm supposed to bring my puppy to work day.
Let me know.
Puppy. Puppy. So that brings us to a public hearing, Department of Parks and Recreation, Program Open Space Grant Budget Adjustment. Director Nizal.
Good morning, Commissioner. Shannon Nizal, Director of Parks and Recreation, and I'm taking a side seat here.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jessie O'Bright. I'm the Grants Coordinator for Parks and Recreation. There is one public hearing scheduled for today. The hearing was duly advertised, and the certificate of publication is made part of the record of the hearing. Citizens are invited to provide comment on any or all of the hearing after the presentation has concluded. The hearing will have a separate comment period following a brief presentation. Anyone here in person must sign in on the sheet next to the attorney to speak. This public hearing is for the purpose of considering and receiving comments regarding Budget Adjustment 000127, making available $745,000 for the construction of the tennis court complex at Dunkirk District Park. And now the memo. Background. The Department of Parks and Recreation currently has a capital improvement plan project to relocate and expand the tennis court complex at Dunkirk District Park. The project includes 5 tennis courts, 4 pickleball courts, parking, lighting, restrooms, and related amenities. The Board of County Commissioners has previously approved funding for this project. After completion of the design and sending out to bid, it was determined that the funding is not adequate to meet the requirements of the project. A total of $225,000 from Program Open Space had been previously allocated, and $700,000 has been allocated from Local Park and Playground Infrastructure Program. On April 25th, 2023, the board approved an amended grant request to Maryland Department of Natural Resources Program Open Space for an additional $745,000. On June 7th, 2023, the Maryland Board of Public Works approved that request. Discussion. The budget adjustment of this amount should be accounted for in fiscal year 2024 budget. The budget adjustment requires a public hearing because it is in excess of $150,000. A notice of public hearing was advertised for 2 weeks in June 2023, soliciting an opportunity for public comment. Fiscal impact, if approved, amends the adopted budget for fiscal year '24 to appropriate and allocate $745,000 for construction of the tennis court complex at Dunkirk District Park to project DDP Tennis Courts CIP 000059. Spend category buildings reimbursable by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. Recommendations. Staff recommends that after taking public comment, the board close the record. Staff will return in 10 days to request the board's approval of BA 000127 and request that the board sign the related budget resolution. That part. The floor has been open for public comment on this hearing. Resolution 689 was adopted and is available here today to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. Those attending in person will be invited to speak first. For those joining virtually, if you wish to speak, please press *9 or use the raise your hand function. Virtual participants will be identified by their screen name or last 4 digits of their phone number and unmuted one at a time. Speakers will be asked to state their name and address. Speakers who are providing comment as individuals will be allocated 2 minutes. Speakers who are the designated representatives of a group will be allocated 5 minutes. At this time, I will check if anyone has requested to speak. So we have Katie Blevins.
I'm sorry, that was for public comment at the end. I thought that was the sheet I was signing. Oh, okay, well, I don't wish to speak, thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes the public hearing. Thank you.
There is no one online.
Ladies and gentlemen, questions, discussion? Motion?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, make a motion that after taking public comment, the BOCC close the record, have staff return 10 days to request BOCC approval of BA-000127 and request the BOCC sign the related budget resolution.
Second. Today, the only thing we need to do is close the record.
Just close?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, just reading the memo, so, sorry. Just, I'm sorry, Mr. President, make a motion to close the record?
Second?
Have motion and second that we close the record. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
We'll
you.
See you in 10 days.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hart's trying to speed up government.
Did it work?
No. That brings us to appointments. Miss Ashley?
Good morning, Commissioners. You have two sets of appointments up for today. First, we have the Employee Recognition Committee, and staff is recommending that you appoint Danielle Elbridge from Finance and Budget, as well as, Maria Luborowski.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we appoint Maria Luborowski, if that's correct, and if not,
I
we
totally butchered
apologize
that,
greatly. And Danielle Elbridge to the Employee Recognition Committee. Any discussion on that motion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect. And then next one up is for the Police Accountability Board, and staff is recommending that you reappoint Susan Justice, Lisa Ireland Baroni, and Alfonso Hawkins.
I move that we reappoint Alfonso Hawkins, Susan Justice, and Lisa Baroni to a full 3-year term.
Second?
Have a motion and a second that we reappoint Alfonso Hawkins, Lisa Baroni, and Susan Justice to 3-year terms for the Police Accountability Board. Any discussion on that motion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is consent. There are several items under consent today. Item 1, Department of Parks and Recreation Letter of Ownership of African American Heritage Preservation Grant Application. Item 2, Department of Parks and Recreation Touchpad Budget Adjustment. Item 3, Office of the County Administrator, Calvert Marine Museum, Lower Oyster House Budget Adjustment. Item 4, Office of the County Administrator, approval of the Calvert Marine Museum Board of Governors fiscal year 2024 budget. Item 5, Office of the County Attorney, tax credits for conservation lots. Item 6, Department of Public Works, grant application for fiscal year 2024 Strategic Demolition Fund, Prince Frederick Armory Building demolition. Item 7, Department of Community Resources, fiscal year 2024 Senior Center Operating Funds grant. Item 8, Department of Community Resources fiscal year 2024-2027 area plan. Whew. Are there any objections to the items listed under consent today?
None.
Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. That brings us to new business. Item 1, Department of Community Resources, Calvert Reads Summer Reading Challenge. Director, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources, and I'm very happy to be joined today by Sandy Hunting, who is the Twin Beaches Library Branch Manager. She's going to be sharing with us about the Calvert Reads Summer Reading Challenge. We do this every year. It's always a good time. And I know she's got some great things to share, so go ahead, Sandy.
It's always a personal favorite of mine.
I
and
do know this.
hope you brought me something very challenging and in-depth this year.
Something
You
really
know, come on in, I'll
yeah.
do my best.
Yeah, no pictures, please.
big words.
It's for all ages, don't worry. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Jennifer. I am Sandy Hunting. I'm the Assistant Branch Manager of the Twin Beaches branch of Calvert Library, but I'm also one of the team leaders for the Calvert Reads team at the library. Unfortunately, my partner, Missy DeSarah, she was supposed to be with me, but she couldn't be here today. But she joins me in inviting you to participate in Calvert Reads this summer. And Calvert Reads is a library program that every summer is designed to encourage people to read. Because we know that summer can be a really difficult time to keep books in people's hands, particularly our littlest friends. So the library tries to make reading as fun as possible with programs, with performers, and with prizes, which is what really gets them going. So we had a great kickoff event in the Prince Frederick Library on June the 10th, where we introduced this year's theme. I'm going to stand up so you can see my theme here.
There you go.
I thought thought I'd be standing when I did this. All Together Now is our theme this year. It's actually a national theme. There's libraries all across the country that are doing this theme. But here in Prince Frederick, we thought that it had kind of a retro vibe to it, so we decided to go with that. So our kickoff had like 70s themed green screen photos, and we had a disco dance party. It was fabulous. But we also had a lot of community friends at the event as well. Folks from No Time to Cook here in the county, the Nanchemoy Creek Environmental Education Center, which is over in Charles County, the University of Maryland Extension Office, the 4-H was there, also the Astronomy Club of Southern Maryland, and they helped us to commemorate events from the 70s. Like the first Earth Day was celebrated in 1970, and the release of the first Star Wars movie.
About this. The rest of us, we don't know what you're talking about. But, you know, I mean,
I
let's
was
just
there
take
too,
your
don't-
word for it.
I was there too, don't worry. So together
And
that
there's
day.
nothing wrong with that.
I don't really remember much of it, but I was there. Together we shared our reading program with over 600 community members that day, and we got lots of people signed up for the program. So here's how it works. So all you do is sign up, and you keep track of the amount of time that you're reading over the summer. And as you do, you earn virtual badges, and more importantly, virtual tickets. And it's those tickets that you use to put into all of these prize buckets. Have you ever been to one of those auctions where you're putting in your little bucket around the room, except you're doing this all on the computer? You can also earn more tickets by completing activities, by writing reviews of the books that you're reading to share with other folks. And all of those tickets go in for wonderful prizes for all ages. So toys and games, some cool gadgets, some retro prizes. I told you we were leaning heavy into this, so we're giving away a disco ball, we're giving away a lava lamp. I mean, we're all in. One lucky winner is even going to win a Nintendo Switch, so that gets the kids really going. I mean, but you can put in for it too. It's okay. But also lots and lots of gift cards, including a gift card for $100 at the grocery store of your choice. So something for grown-ups too, right? So our community goal for the summer is to, all together now, read 2.3 million minutes. So the motto, the slogan is 2.3 and 23. You like that? We liked it. And I'm happy to say, and I'm going to check my app here, there is an app that you can keep track of your reading on as well. Super convenient on your phone, on your tablet. And we have read already, as of this moment, whoa, that's a big number, 672,533 minutes so far as a community.
We got to set a new goal.
And I know, we set a new goal every year, and we reach it every year. That's the fabulous part. So, and still 53 days to go, so lots of time to get your reading in to make those 2.3 minutes. Also, we have this great board. I'm going to show this off because one of our friends at the library, Jen Seidel, makes this wonderful board every year that's going to help you keep track of your reading if you need something to write on. It has all of these wonderful activities you can do and earn more badges, and of course, all of the prizes on the back that you can win, so to keep you going. Lots of programs going on at the library this summer as well. Story time for our littlest friends, a summer STEAM events, which are for elementary school students that focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Also, a Tween Summer Book Fest. That's a discussion group for our kind of middle grade kids. We just had ours at our library last night. And book boxes for our older students, teen book boxes that they can check out with surprise reading, kind of one of those subscription type boxes. Also performers like Mad Science, Eco Adventures, which is an animal program coming up on July the 13th, and magician Brian Curry coming up in August. So, in conclusion, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and I want to invite you to join Calvert Reads, but also everyone here, everyone watching at home, to come into the library or check our website at calvertlibrary.info for more information. That's all I've got. Any questions?
I think Commissioner Hart wants his books on tape.
Those count too.
I still got a cassette
Absolutely.
player.
Anything that you read, anything that you listen to, it doesn't even have to come from the library. Reading reports for the next commissioners meeting, that counts too.
Oh, you've already met your quota. You don't know
I'm sure, yeah.
but you've already met your quota.
So when are we going to open the doors on the new library?
It is coming right along. Have you been up to see it
Oh,
lately? It's
it's
beautiful.
very nice.
So probably late winter, early spring is what we're looking at.
Wow.
But most of the framing is done. The roof is on. The siding should be starting to go on soon, and then the windows after that, which is going to be phenomenal. When the windows go on that south wall, it's going to be gorgeous.
So you do realize next summer you're gonna have to put binoculars out there and have dolphin watching. and
You know, bird
everything
watching
else.
we've talked about. There is also all wonderful things that we can do out on that terrace. We are super excited.
It looks nice, it does.
Yeah.
Even from the water, it looks very
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for all of your support to make that happen. It's really very exciting. The community, we were just at the Dragon Boat Festival in North Beach, and the community could not be more excited about the building. So, so
Great.
thank you for all of your support.
It's the busiest library around.
It very well could be, yeah. We're looking forward to it.
Very good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Have a good day. So next item on the agenda, Department of Parks and Recreation Revenue Enhancement Policy Supplemental Materials. Director Dizal, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning again, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Shannon Nazal, Director of Parks and Recreation, and I will go ahead and read the memo. So background, on October 29th, 2019, the Board of County Commissioners adopted the Parks and Recreation Revenue and Fee Policy and Manual. As a part of that manual, revenue enhancement is considered an avenue of alternative funding sources for the department. On January 31st, 2023, the Board of County Commissioners adopted the Revenue Enhancement Policy. This policy aims to develop and implement market-based approaches for generating incremental revenue and offsetting operating costs while improving services and increasing public satisfaction and enjoyment of services with reduced taxpayer subsidization. The revenue enhancement policy practices include but are not limited to the following: advertising placement, affiliate marketing, collaboration agreements, commissions, cooperative marketing, in-kind exchange, performance agreements, promotions, promotional programs, and sponsorship. This policy applies to all formal agreements for which the Department of Parks and Recreation receives incremental revenue or budget relieving cost offsets in the form of goods, services, promotional considerations, or funds. Discussion. Supplemental documentation for advertising and sponsorships are required to properly implement the program. Formal documents such as terms and conditions, as well as agreement templates, are crucial to the success of the revenue enhancement policy. By utilizing template agreements for sponsorships and agreements, it allows the Department of Parks and Recreation to respond quicker and more efficiently to requests for advertisements and sponsorship opportunities within the parameters of the revenue enhancement policy. It is the desire of the department to allow the department head to execute said agreements as applicable within the approved policy and pursuant to a fee schedule which may be altered by the Board of County Commissioners at any given time. Fiscal impact. The fiscal impact will vary year to year. However, by having a formalized template and fee schedule, it guides staff to encourage and facilitate continued and increased public use of parks and recreation amenities, programs, facilities, and properties while maintaining the exceptional image of the Department of Parks and Recreation, the Board of County Commissioners, and the community. It is expected that the addition of these programs will provide revenue positive results moving forward. Conclusion and recommendation. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve the templates for a sponsorship agreement, advertisement agreement, and terms and conditions, as well as approve the addition of advertising fees into the 2023 Calvert County Parks and Recreation fee schedule. Staff further recommends that the Board of County Commissioners authorize the department head to execute both sponsorship and advertisement agreements per the limits afforded in the revenue enhancement policy. I'll answer any questions you may have.
So I think we talked before about somebody policing the actual signage and that kind of thing as part of this as well?
Yes.
We have that under control? And
Yes, so as a part of,
for that?
yes, as a part of the revenue enhancement policy, we do have items that are prohibited within things that may be advertised. So some of the items that, and this is located within the terms of conditions of the agreement that's attached to the memo, where it prohibits tobacco or vaping products, alcoholic beverages, demeaning or disparaging words, profanity, violence, and a number of other items as well. And we would be monitoring for those types of items to prohibit those from being advertised within our park system.
Okay, so there's an approval process for these
Yes.
Everything, okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yes.
And Shannon, I know we talked about it before. I just wanted to bring it up again, see what the board felt about. Me personally, I didn't want political advertising on there. I don't know how the rest of the board felt. We see it get pretty obnoxious. So I'd hate to see the field have 5,000 signs, and where, and it's, just my 20%. I mean, of course, whatever the board wish to do. I just thought we're seeing that process get more and more insane. I mean, I'm waiting for Goodyear blimps to be flying around and stuff like that, so just my 20%. I don't believe that's in there.
That's correct. Right now, political items in nature are not prohibited.
Counselor, did we have some discussion about the legality of that at the
We
back
had-
originally?
Yes, we have.
Can you remind the new commissioners of that discussion, please?
Yes, there was a discussion early on about what areas of speech are protected and which are not. And I know Shannon worked very closely with Pamela Lucas to develop this policy so that we are on firm legal grounds in what we can reject as far as a limited public forum or a paid public forum. So.
And at this time, too, there is, as far as advertising, the only thing that we have put forth a fee schedule for advertising is our activity guide. So at this time, we don't have a fee schedule or a plan or program for putting banners up throughout a park system. So that's not the goal at this time. And if there were any further fees to be implemented for other programs, that would be brought before the board before we went ahead with that.
So in our earlier discussions, Counselor, I didn't think legally we could ban campaign signs.
There was some further investigation and discussion that I was not privy to myself, but I know Pamela did look at it for the department. There was campaign materials on scorecards at the golf course that was an issue once before, and it was deemed protected or at
But
that
that
time.
had a private piece to it, if I believe, being this is all public. So that's, and I don't know, that's what, I mean, obviously it's probably a legal issue, just me personally, it gets obnoxious, and, it's a place for families to go to where they should just be focusing, focusing on family and not, because now all of a sudden you got a political discussion at the ball field, and, some places you just need to focus on family and to me, there's a time and a place for everything, and just mine. But and maybe the law says, hey, they can be able to do whatever they want to do.
Certainly, the law does not prescribe what you might wish to have happen every time. The law will allow you to regulate certain types of speech, though it may not be speech that you want to have in this forum. You want to have a policy decision that we're going to fund it with taxpayer money as opposed to revenue streams from users or from advertisers. So I guess I can say that we've looked at the legal issues to develop this policy with the best legal advice plausible. It may not meet all of the policy objectives, and that's where it comes to the commissioner's table for your debate and discussion.
So you want to revisit that part of it?
Do we have? Is there an avenue, John? I mean, legally, can that? I mean, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I mean, is that something that can be discussed?
I believe it can be, yes.
I mean, I
If you
would,
want to
and
have
I just
further discussion.
it gets obnoxious. I mean, we saw it last time, out of control, down Route 4 and everything else like that. I mean, it's okay, you're running, great. I mean, do you need 9,000 signs plastered on everything? And I just think the public gets worn out by it. And last time, it went for a year and a half. And and if I'll tell you, if that venue was available, boy, they would have used that to the T. They'd have had it on every thing that they could stick it on. So just my 20%.
Commissioner Brassett?
I agree with what you're saying, Commissioner Hart, but if it's free speech and if it's our right as Americans and that is the law, then we've got to go along with it.
Anybody else?
How do you separate the golf course throughout the parks? Is the golf course revenue going to be separate, or is one kitty, or how are we handling that as far as the revenue stream there?
So revenue streams will be based on facility and what current bucket those revenues for that facility go into. So golf course would go into golf course, Breezy Point would go into Breezy Point. The activity guide is paid out of our special revenue fund anyway, so that would that advertising funds would go into that to offset the cost of producing the activity guide.
Do you want a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I move that we approve the templates for a sponsorship agreement, advertising agreement, and terms and conditions, as well as approve the addition of advertising fees into the 2023 Calvert County Parks and Recreation fee schedule, and authorize the department head to execute both sponsorship and advertising agreements within the limits afforded in the revenue enhancement policy.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. I'm not going to repeat, but you just heard it. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you,
Director.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Next, that brings us to a presentation. Mr. County Administrator, you want to introduce our guest?
Yep. Please join us at the table. Commissioners, my name is Mark Willis, County Administrator. I'm going to introduce two gentlemen from United Bridge Partners for their presentation. A quick memo just for the citizens' background. United Bridge Partners is a private company with its mission to creatively deliver and operate transportation infrastructure for America's communities by funding, designing, building, owning, and operating private toll bridges. Under discussion, Mr. Doug Witt, President and CEO of United Bridge Partners, and Mr. Addison Smith, Principal of Alta Crest LLC, have prepared a presentation that highlights United Bridge Partners' background and showcases the bridges they have successfully constructed. The presentation will also depict their vision for the new bridge in Solomons, Maryland, to replace the current Thomas Johnson Bridge. With that, gentlemen, please introduce yourselves. And if you don't mind, move a microphone down for each one of you. Oh, you have one? Okay, yeah, I didn't see yours. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My name's Doug Witt. I'm President and CEO of United Bridge Partners.
Addison Smith. I'm a consultant that supports United Bridge Partners. Been working with them for about 5 years now, doing bridges throughout the country.
Well, thank you for your time today. We appreciate your interest in hearing us. United Bridge Partners rebuilds injured bridges around the country. And two things are always at play in the world, in the communities in which we're in. One, there is a need to replace. And two, there's insufficient funds. And neither of those tend to move. So we tend to be an option that's available, and so we just want to share that option with you today. By the way, as background, Addison and I are familiar with the bridge, Thomas Johnson Bridge, probably over the last couple years. We've had meetings and with constituencies throughout over a period of time, and so we feel like we have some grasp of it. So if there's any of the assumptions that I just suggested that are completely inaccurate or we're off, feel free to correct us. We're happy to understand that. If you want to think about our business, think of three things: fund, build, operate. We will commit up front the entire amount of money to rebuild and replace the bridge. In this case, it's $500 million we're thinking for getting the roadway around it, but let's just use that as a placeholder. If it were 6, that's fine. If it were 250, that's fine. But we can go ahead and commit it up front.
So, sir, not to stop you, but, you know, we've heard, I remember 8 years ago, they said the bridge was $850 million. Now I've heard over $1 billion. You say 500 based on, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, just saying that what I've been told for 8 years.
You know, it's fuzzy. Our understanding just for the bridge itself, because there's connecting roadway around there, and it just depends on it just depends on the scope of what you include. So from the bridge itself, I think there's probably also a roadway effort that needs to be, that is entertained in parallel. That's probably gets you to the higher end. But
Are you speaking of that, though, when you say that number? You're just talking bridge
we're
replacement?
talking about the bridge replacement and around, the on and off and some of that. And that's, we discussed that too, and we've done that in a couple fashions. But, as a placeholder for today, maybe we just stick with 500 million because we think that's, some communities think that's a lot of money that we would be able to commit up front. And then secondly, we build, which means we come up with the team on the design and the build and the engineering, and we take all the risk on that. We will do the design, obviously with you and the community, and through a design partner and then a construction partner, and we are there for the entire construction period. And we take the risk for that in terms of the cycle time, which in this case we'd say 3 years, we think. Maybe it's 4, let's say 3 to 4, but possibly 3. So, if you decided magically between now and July 1 of this year that you said, let's go, it's very doable that you would have a new bridge July 1 of 2026, open and operating. And I'll walk you through how we've done that elsewhere, 6 times now. And then afterwards, we operate. So it's all equity. There's no debt here. We were doing all equity before we had an interest rate issue and there were 0 interest rates. That's a little more onerous right now. This is an equity investment. It's like buying a house with cash. And one of the reasons is it helps us move quickly because obviously a short cycle time is important. But 2, it aligns us with the community because it's like buying a house with cash and moving into the community. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well on some of the ones in a second. And then finally, we operate. We operate for the long term. This is a toll-based solution, and it's the only way to go ahead and write a check for $500 million up front and get something done in the near term. But as a result of that, whether we own it, which we do in 3 of the 6 cases that we have, or whether it's a long-term lease with the community, either we can do both, and we have done both. We operate it for the long term, the tolling, collections, all of that kind of process over a period of time. So fund, build, and operate is what we ended up doing for these bridges in need. This is a picture of the bridges that we've done. I've been here in this position literally 5 years. The one at the bottom is the South Norfolk Jordan Bridge not too far away. That's been open. The distinction here is we've been running that for over 10 years now. So the notion of us doing this and leaving is not in our, that's not what we do. If we're going to commit, we're coming into the community to have aligned things. We want to serve the community. We want the lowest tolls, by the way, too. We absolutely want the lowest tolls to do this, and we're trying to contain cost on a number of fronts, and we can talk a little bit more about that. So that was 10 years ago. During COVID, we may have been the only private bridge that opened in 2020. I know I had 113 flights in 2020 around the country. And then this year, we are opening 3 bridges. One in Joliet, Illinois, we opened in April. Just this June in Bay City, Michigan, we opened a second one, and in Parkersburg, West Virginia, we'll be opening in Labor Day, which is probably a lot more than certainly some other states we've been talking to in general. So we know how to do this. We've done it 6 times. We've learned there are all kinds of nuances in a local community and how to do this, and we feel like with each one we get better and better on this. So that is our current portfolio, and we're going to continue to do this in the future, going forward, depending on those who have a need for it. Just as by way of example here. Oh, so I'm sorry, on the last one. If you just do the math on the numbers here, that's about $750 million across 6 bridges, which we've invested over the last, call it 8 years, cross 6 bridges. This is the first one, South Norfolk Jordan, about a mile long. It had no funding, there was no plan. It was shut down, and so we came in and worked with the community, and in this case, we ended up purchasing the bridge. And we've been running it now for 10 years. It's got about 3 million crossings a year. Toll is under $3 each crossing. And on the passenger side, or on the 2-axle side for the residents. And then, we manage a park around it. So there's a bike path, there's a running path, there's a park underneath. And what we're finding and what we do is we turn it into, it's an investment in the community. And it was a huge shot in the arm for the community.
So, excuse me, while
Sure.
you're on that, you said the toll for a car is under $3. What's the toll for trucks?
Depends on the bridge. It could be 5, could be 6. We have, depending on the number of axles, whether it's 4 or 5 plus, so something like that.
So I was going to wait, but since you talked about the toll piece, obviously, there's no way to give an accurate number till you would know cost. But that area there is so dependent on that bridge.
Yes, sir.
There's no other option. Really going to Benedict is not a feasible option if you're working there all the time. So what is to be prohibitive of starts here, but it ends there? Because you would be a private company, and what would keep you to keep a rate at a certain piece? I mean, 5 years later, 10 years later, you go, hey, we're not recuperating our money the way we thought we would. We got to increase fees. What's in there for that?
It's a great question. We deal with that all the time. So let's just keep the math simple and we can adjust it. But, in this case, just because everyone asks that, it's like, what's the rate going to be? So on 500 million of an investment, our calculation, somewhere around there, it would be, we try and keep it under $3.
Today?
Today, yes. But you're raising a really, really good point, which is coming up in a number of cases.
And that's one way, both ways?
One way.
So that's $6 a day. So I work across that bridge. That's $30 a week times 52. What am I, about $2,000 a year right there? And that's not if I have to make other multiple trips, and that's at that rate today.
Yes, sir. That's at today.
So if I'm working a minimum wage job, that's a big hit. If I'm making $300,000 a year, maybe not so much. But you have everybody in that equation. What's to keep that cost down? Because obviously you're going to go automated, but still you're going to do the snow removal because you're going to own it. So you're going to do all that, right?
We're going to do all it. We're going to take care of all the maintenance. So a couple things on that, because we've done this again 6 times. It's not the first time we've heard your question. Not it at all. We have been able to, in certain instances, implement resident-friendly kind of toll rates that may be differentiated from the standard, call it $3. And we've done that in a couple of examples. And we could walk you through that. But just as a placeholder, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sure. But are you guys willing to do a contract or an MOU with the community that says, okay, I'm a Calvert resident, my rate will never exceed this? And I don't know that a private business would ever do that. And right, I get you, and I understand costs and everything else. And I'm not trying to drill you, but
no.
I've heard about this bridge since I remember before it was there. So I was here before we had a bridge. It was never designed to do. I've heard about this bridge almost every day of my life.
Sure.
And I can tell you, if you're dependent on that bridge, some people make multiple trips. Doesn't sound like a lot, $6, but if you're somebody that's on fixed income and stuff, and what's to prohibit you to go to $5 each way, $10 each way?
Sure. So let me respond, because I don't want to be misinterpreted. My expression was not concurrent with what you just said at all. We have ways to go ahead and manage that for the community, and we've done it. We've made offers where there are monthly passes for multiple trips. I mean, we have the mechanisms, and assuming assuming this, this type of solution connects with you, we're happy to have those kinds of discussions in very deep detail on this. But I would also suggest some other thing here that is very real, it's very different than when it was 5 years ago. If you assume a 5% inflation rate, if you do it now, we, call it $500 million. A year from now, you start the clock, it's 525 million.
Oh, if not more.
Right,
That's true.
exactly. And so, 5% on $3, you just use the math, it's another 15 cents. So what other communities around the country, and we deal with probably 25, 30 states in varying degrees here. So we've seen a lot of things around the country. That's 15 cents a year just on that, just to try and go ahead and do it. And so one of the times, not necessarily your friend or anyone's friend right now out of this, and the sooner you get it done, it's a greater way to contain it. Go ahead and do that. But around your question for the residents, we go ahead and we figure out ways that are palatable. And so I was going to come back to it at the end, but let me just come here now. Assuming there's support here, by the counties, and they want to go ahead and do that. One of the other things that we also, feel is absolutely essential is doing sensing with the community on this in open forums. They have to buy into this. And unless the community is behind it, we're not going to be behind it. We're not going to do that. Everybody needs to be aligned. You, the counties, the residents, and UBP.
I think the only way to get that type of support, there's several questions. As you know, one, would the existing bridge still be operating while you're building?
We can do it. There are a couple ways to do it, yes.
Because 4 in Bended Bridge can't support it. So if all of a sudden the option was, well, we'll be down for 4 years, I can tell you, community will tell you no right off the get-go.
Sure. We get that question, and we do parallel structures, and we know how to do that. Yes.
2, an open-ended bill is scary. I mean, because you have 1 year it snows every day, your costs go here. You have a couple winters like we had. I mean, we deal with snow removal here all the time. If we have a good year of snow with no snow, we save a couple $1 million. If we have blizzards back to back, you're going to be treating that thing every time it hits a certain temperature, because at a certain elevation, breezes freeze first, everything. So there's so many variables, and I know you say you got a way to mitigate that, but you're still a private business, and I don't fault that. I mean, businesses are in business to make money. You're here to make money, or you wouldn't be here. But once that bridge, if that was the case, that bridge was there, the resident has no other choice. So the deal has to be resident friendly. From me, from my 20%, it has to be, it's got to be 99.1 their way.
Sure, I understand what you said. So a couple of things, just in case I wasn't clear. We assume all the maintenance going forward. We do all the capital expenditures in year 30 and going forward. We factor that in there. That's all factored into the $3 toll on all of that. As a placeholder, let's just,
But you're using 3 as a placeholder, because there's no way you could say that number today.
It is a placeholder. Yes, I'm just using it right now. We're flying at 50,000 feet right here, starting with the 500 million. But that is, until there would need to be a commitment by the counties to go ahead and pursue this, and there would need to be support at the local resident level.
Do you even have the real estate on the St. Mary side
I'm
to
sorry?
do this? Do you even have the real estate option on the St. Mary side to do this? It seems a little trickier over there.
That was my question. The 500 million, does that include land acquisition?
No, it's just bridge replacement.
That's just bridge replacement right now.
That's not right-of-ways or any kind of type of construction.
Yeah, right. And I would caution getting caught on the number, because it could be 6. There are a lot of.
State of Maryland says it's $1 billion.
But that includes.
Sure, that's a turnkey job.
I don't think today is the day to go ahead and
Sure.
debate what that number is. Here's really the question that I'd have for you. Are you against UBP investing $500 million in your community?
I would have my residents have to make that call.
I understand that. And so the second thing is, are you against us sharing this type of potential option with the community to see if it at all connects or resonates with
Well, here's
them?
the reality. That bridge waiting on the state and federal government will not be replaced unless the darn thing falls in the ground, basically. So that's a fact, and everybody knows that. And so the only option to truly replace it would be a toll bridge. Problem is it financially cohesive to do?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's the real question, because everybody knows, we've heard it all, and every time it's political season, they come out the woodwork and try to sell us a bill of goods. They're gonna put money in the bridge. Last year, was it, Commissioner Hans, the state did a great book.
$1 million.
Yeah, it was a great book. Yeah, it actually was even tabbed for bridge replacements across the thing. In our world, if it's not in the CIP, it doesn't exist. Well, just on a bigger thing with the state. I flip open to the page and I say, folks, respectfully, I need to ask a question. We're not even in your CIP, so we're not a priority. We've even been told that it's not a priority to pick something else, but we keep putting it in there because it is a priority to our residents.
Sure.
But I know this, at the end of the day, you are a business and you are not a nonprofit. So that's where, the rubber meets the road. And I'm sure I know this is just a kick the tire session, but I just want to let you know where I'm coming from is there's got to be some realistic expectations.
Nothing that you said is new to us.
Sure.
We have mayors and counties and commissions and city councils that have had to go through a very, very painful decision to go ahead and do it. And in one, I'm not going to use names, but in at least one of them, it was a question of this is going to get shut down otherwise. And so that changed the dynamic a little bit too over time after going back to a couple times to the well to try and find it again. So, I can go through more.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Sure, no, go ahead, ma'am.
Has St. Mary's County seen this presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What kind of response did you get, or are you willing to say?
Oh, we heard similar comments.
Mm-hmm.
We heard some resistance on this.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the only way we've been successful is to make sure we also get community support.
Mm-hmm.
What we've also found in some of them that, and I don't want to minimize it, but sometimes the community just might be more in favor of this than and until you ask, you don't know.
Right.
And so this is.
You'll get feedback. The bridge is a hot topic. You'll be no problem getting feedback.
We're skilled at taking feedback in public forums where there's resistance.
But in all honesty, people have said they've realized that bridge ain't getting replaced anytime soon.
Uh-huh.
And this is an option, and people have said, look, if the toll's only $2 or $3, I'll pay it to get a new bridge. But, Commissioner's Hart, this board is not opposed to the concept.
Sure.
This board is open to the discussion, but as you know and have said, we need to do community outreach. You need the community to buy in, because we're not going to do it if the community doesn't buy in, which is what you've faced every place else you've been.
Right.
So,
Nor do we want to do it either,
Yeah.
unless there's community. So
we don't have to kick this horse to the death the rest of the day. Commissioner Hart has another engagement, so.
no problem.
I do have one question.
We just wanted to share.
I'm not trying to shorten the presentation.
No, I think we've covered all the salient points where we're going to get, active, robust conversation. But, I think the question would be, are you willing or interested in getting some public feedback? And we know how to do that as well in an open forum. And we would be sharing an option that is available if embraced. And if not, that's okay too.
That's where it has to go.
Commissioner Cox?
So is this a turnkey project for you for the bridge and the roads, or would that be another contractor? And would you take all of the permits with the roads and transition of the land? Or is this a turnkey, or is that just the bridge?
It's the bridge and the adjacencies on the bridge, like right off of the bridge, but depending on the size of the road, the road improvements that are needed to be there and the scale and the scope of that, we're not doing full roads. We focus with bridges. Our focus is on bridges, and then, the adjacencies around that. But permitting, right-of-ways, all of that, we have extensive experience. We've even worked with FHWA. It's also our understanding that this is, we've been to Maryland DOT, that this would, in order to do this, it would probably, our understanding is it would require a handoff from MDOT to the county or counties. We've talked to MDOT about that at least a year ago, and, their comment was, well, let's see if there's support locally, and then we'll see if there's a conversation.
Doug, can I add something to that?
Yes, sir.
So I think, one example, our Hubolt Road extension bridge was about a $170 million project, and there's a lot of adjacent work that needed to be done, and the state came in and provided an additional $35 million. And we do a lot of work in the grant space, and to be competitive, you need to have private investment to be able to get the grants. And so there are ways to get, federal investment and state investment, particularly with the delegation that you have now in Congress that may not be there that long, to kind of, get that extra money required to finish up the other work. And, we've had these discussions in Congress already on this, and there is interest.
So your bridge that you're using to estimate the $500 million, what does that look like?
It's 4 lanes, 4-lane bridge. We would talk about structures. I mean, there are a number of different options that we would propose, and everyone would get a line. Bike path.
So is it similar to the Elizabeth River Bridge that you showed?
Yes.
Okay.
It could be like that. It might, not necessarily, that might not be the exact structure or type of it, but something of that nature. And then, the other thing that is very important to us these days, and we see it is personal safety on a bridge.
Now, in the past, the Navy had a height requirement. Is that no longer needed?
I think, we've been looking at some of the designs that have already been put forward on Thomas Johnson Bridge, and that's what we're working off of right now.
Because that changes everything, too.
And what height is that?
I don't recall what the height that they had in
It's under discussion, and it does change everything, and that can also change the price tag significantly.
But your estimate,
And we're aware of that, but
is your estimate based on current height?
yes, that's my understanding on this for now. We could validate it, but we would have multiple discussions, assuming everyone said, let's try and make this happen. There's support, let's try.
Right, so the safety measure you just touched on, is that part of your bridge from the inception?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean,
'Cause
assuming that's there, we
We are
think.
having those issues still.
Yeah, and we're aware of it. We hear about that stuff, and we take safety very, very seriously on all fronts. And
So you're-
we would encourage and strongly recommend some safety measures for their
So
sake.
your
Yes,
your
sir.
bridge current proposal is for 4 lanes and 2 bike lanes?
Something to that effect. And again, you can tweak it depending on cost and all that, and, it would be an iterative type process, but for the purposes of a concept that, quite frankly, is, in order to do this, it requires a toll, whatever that is, call it X for today, just call it X. But it's, part of the hurdle is toll or no toll.
Or
Even
no
if-
bridge?
even
Or a
if-
bridge or no bridge?
Right, and bridge or no bridge. So, I think you understand the gist of what we do. We could certainly have you talk with a couple of the mayors in the communities who have gone through some of these processes, if that's possible. But again, the question one step we would suggest would be to get some community feedback and see if it resonates, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too, because we're interested, but only if you're interested, and that means everyone here.
I think one thing that the public will definitely be interested in, and as will we, is the creative revenue structures, the community tolling, availability payments. You touched on like a paper book that citizens could use, and then revenue sharing. Could you expand on what opportunities would be available to the public to get over the bridge in an affordable manner?
Monthly toll passes in some cases. And, I'm suggesting ideas here. I know it's a public forum, and I don't want to consider commitments here yet,
No,
but we're open to all of those. We do monthly passes, there are availability payments. Whatever you're spending on maintenance right now, that maybe Maryland DOT is having, you might want to try and acquire that money and take that and say, look, you didn't get us the new bridge, I'm just trying to sit on your side of the table here, and say, can we have that for, you know, for availability payments or certain kinds of, you know, tolls?
We have Easy Pass in Maryland. Do you,
We do
Go-
all of that.
you do all of that?
We do
Okay.
all of that in all the states. We're
Okay.
there in Indiana, Illinois, Maryland. We're actually, we do it all.
Okay.
I guess privately, you can do a local preference because you don't receive state money, but if you did get state grants and stuff, are you allowed to do a local preference? Like you said, you know, we've run into that because you're talking about grant money and stuff, all of a sudden, the state or federal government says, well, hey, you took some grant money, Calvert County residents paying this, St. Mary's County's paying this, you know, this, but you're now saying somebody outside of those jurisdictions is paying here, you cannot do that.
But there's a commuter rate for the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Right.
So if you make so many trips a month, you get a reduced rate.
Right. The answer is we have not encountered that situation. We've encountered most, but we haven't, so it's all been private funding up until now. But, you know, I would say that's probably, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb, that's probably not the biggest hurdle here. If that were the last issue, that would be, you know, I would take that as a victory for everyone, if that were the last issue.
And we have been working with federal highways on this issue, and as the grants come out, so we can better understand how the private funds can work with public, and they're eager to work with us. We had to work with them in Michigan as well, where some federal money had been used in the past, and we came in and took over the bridge and did a lease, so we've worked through that issue. And we can have the conversation with federal highways if you'd like.
Right. And if the DOD is requiring height requirements, they should pay the difference. Because we don't need a 140-foot tall bridge for some boats.
We're willing to just have all of those discussions. Every one of those discussions you have brought up where we would embrace with you, where we just think it
I mean, the
would be-
community wants a bridge. That's without question. The community wants a bridge. They complain about the bridge for good reason daily. I mean,
Sure.
there's even Bridge Watch basically on Facebook. As soon as somebody breaks down there, it's all shut down, goes everywhere. The question is, can it be affordable? That's the question.
We understand, and if it's if you're willing to go ahead and set up some or shepherd us to having some public forums where you get some feedback, we'd be happy to invest the time and come back and do so and get some real clarity as to what people are genuinely thinking on toll or no toll, and, you know, what's a.
Well, the big question was, you don't have to destroy the existing bridge while this is being worked on.
No,
I
there's no
was
way
there
you-
when the ferries were there and stuff, and that kills it.
This would be a parallel structure.
Commissioner Arlen?
So your next slide has the Thomas Johnson detour route. That was just for purposes in case the bridge did go out, then
It's just,
okay.
if you can't get across it, it's not easy.
Right.
That's all
All right,
there is.
fair enough, fair
That's
enough.
all there is. And I think, we just went through all of this, I think. I mean, in the interest of time, I think we covered most all of those points, and, you know, we can do it. This is just basically says we can do it in
So,
three-year cycle time, we think. It may be a little more complex. This is, maybe it's 4, but, you know, in a lot of cases, we're seeing, we have people who are still discussing whether they're gonna do something 5 years later, and they could have had a bridge already at probably 60% of the cost had they just pulled the trigger then.
didn't they do Harry Nice in 18 months?
I'm sorry?
Didn't they do the Harry Nice Bridge in 18 months?
It was, my understanding was quick and focused, and that's the other thing, you know, we've had some other lieutenant governors and people say, you know, one is about the money, and then, you know, the toll, but it's also about getting it done. We can get it done, and we would be focused on getting it done. It's not impossible to see a project that gets started that doesn't get finished quickly. So that's the cycle. We've been through, I think we've covered just about we've covered everything, I think. From our standpoint, we have, unless there are any other questions, but we just appreciate your time today and interest.
So have any more other questions? Good. So we've had some recent conversations in the past, and, you know, this was more about formalizing those discussions so the whole world hears it, so our phone starts ringing.
Okay.
Hopefully not, but I don't believe the board here is opposed to community outreach, to get a feel from the community, because as you recognize, we're not gonna do it without their support, and they're gonna have questions just like Commissioner Hart. and
Sure.
So, until we do that, we don't know where we are, I don't believe, but.
That would be our sense as well. So I think we're completely aligned on that, and you can feel free to reach out to us and, on a timetable that,
Yeah, so
works for
we
you.
have to communicate back and forth and figure out a schedule, or summer's not always good to try to do community outreach.
Figure it out, sir.
But we can start working on a plan.
Right. And it could be one meeting, it could be a
Getting
couple meetings,
It
couple
would
nights.
probably be quite a few.
Yeah, we know how to do that too.
Yeah.
We've done several ones by districts, and we can, there are a number of different ways to do it and have people have the opportunity to show up and listen and share.
Yeah,
I mean, when we had the LNG facility being built, it was several meetings, it was a lot of Q&A. I mean, so the area is very accustomed to things of this nature. They, like I
Okay.
say, with having a nuclear plant here, having the LNG facility, like I say, it comes down to cost. I mean, like I say, if that's, somebody's got to go back and forth every day, and it's,
and that's the other issue, it's an evacuation route, so you really can't tear the bridge down without a replacement.
Sure.
And there's just more reasons for federal responsibility here than maybe normal in a normal bridge.
Understood, but from a priority standpoint, I can't begin to understand the nuances of your job, but if you went back to MDOT and said, we found 500 million, we could use another 400, that's gotta be worth, it might be worth something.
For
but
them,
who
the
knows?
responsibility's for the road, and
Sure.
like you say, if we go to if there comes a time when the community's supportive and we say, look, the community's willing to pay a toll for a new bridge, talk about road upgrades, because without the road upgrades, you're really not solving the solution. You're not really solving the problem.
if you go from 2 down to 1, what'd you do?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, that's gotta be a 2-lane
Yeah.
coming out of there, you're just gonna bottleneck right there. I mean,
Sure.
you're fine on the Calvert side, but on the St. Mary's side, you go to 1.
Okay.
So, and that was a big discussion path, because it's gotta go all the way out to 235 there, where you hit the, well, I think they've expanded a little bit once you get up to that church there, but for, and that's, I forget how many miles it is, probably a couple miles
Okay.
of single lane.
Yep. So we'll partner up and do some outreach and see what we hear back.
Terrific. We appreciate your time today
Thank
and
you.
your
Thank
interest.
you.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
I believe that brings us to old business. Office of the County Attorney.
We need a motion first, right, Mr. Preston?
Yeah, to reconsider.
Okay. Wait for John.
Morning, Commissioners. John Norris, County Attorney. Background, the Property Owners Association of Chesapeake Ranch Estates, Poacre, previously sought and obtained approval for a special tax district for the residents of Chesapeake Ranch Estates subdivision, most recently by Ordinance 09-19. Each district approved by ordinance is supported by an agreement addressing audit and reimbursement procedures that entitle the district to be reimbursed for expenses properly incurred in accordance with the projects in the petition and approved by the ordinance. The Poacre Special Tax District expires on June 30. On June 13, the Board of County Commissioners did decide not to approve the next petition. There is approximately $810,000 in collected district funds that will not be expended by June 30, 2023. Discussion, the Board of Directors of Poacre have submitted the enclosed amendment to the current agreement that would allocate unexpended funds of the Special Tax District to a reserve fund. By the amendment, the reserve fund can only be used to finance projects approved as part of the Special Tax District that expires June 30, 2023. And that is by Section 4-103D13 of the Public Local Laws, a permissible use of those funds collected. Fiscal impact is none because the money's already been collected. Conclusion recommendation, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to approve and authorize the President to sign on its behalf the amendment to the agreement presented by Poacre's Board.
So before we get into discussion, you need a motion, correct, County Attorney?
Yes, sir.
I move we reconsider the decision on June 13 rejecting the petition of the Property Owners Association of Chesapeake Ranch Estates.
Second?
Have motion and second for reconsideration. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, now, so in layman's language, in slow-paced,
Yes.
so can you explain what is on the table here?
What I've presented you is the opportunity for POACR's Board of Directors to spend the money that's already been collected by the last special tax district over the next 12 months so that the projects that they identified in their last petition that was approved can be brought to fruition or conclusion. So their petition that would have gone from this July 1 through June 30 of 2027 would have raised a little over $1 million a year. They have 810,000 estimated left. They have road tax money that they also raise, not through the special tax district, but through their dues. If they were to add that road money to the 810,000, they would essentially have already collected 1 year's worth of special tax district revenue and could work on projects for that community. The one thing they are missing is the FEMA protection that comes for special tax districts, where the Federal Emergency Management Administration, I believe, not agency, pays 75% of the post-hazard mitigation to fix roads, to fix beaches, to fix infrastructure, stormwater management. That wouldn't be covered by this because the special tax district was voted to end.
So to be clear, the money that's already collected, so when somebody gets their tax bill this September, there would be no STD on that?
Is a resident of of Chesapeake Ranch Estates would not have a special tax district line on their property tax bill. That's accurate. Drum Point still does, but not
Right,
not
so,
Sierra.
so this extension of time is specifically for the ability to use funds already collected, to pay existing projects that are already in the works. So if they have something that's just not completed yet, this is gonna allow the funding already collected to complete those projects, and at the same time, would extend FEMA protection to a year, to next year, June 30.
So what I've presented you will not, but a couple of the commissioners did call individually and ask what can we do to help to address the FEMA issue that's been brought out. If the board wishes to do so, you could take, say, $10 per lot from the district's collected funds, have the district pay on behalf of the lot owner a special assessment. So it's taking money from, that's already been collected from the district.
860 or whatever have you. or
About
30, whatever it is.
810 left. But you have however many lots there are, I believe there's over 4,000 lots. If each of those 4,000 lots was assessed $10 but did not get billed for it, because the district is going to pay that on their behalf, the district is taking its money, paying the special assessment, which is returning it to that same pot where the district's money is.
But no further money's being collected.
There's no collection, there's nothing on the tax bill for the residents of the Chesapeake Ranch Estates, but they do get that insurance policy from FEMA at no charge. And FEMA again pays 75% of a mitigation for
Right,
it.
natural disaster, things of that nature.
Correct. And they have used FEMA in the past in the ranch estates, hurricanes, derechos, winter storms.
Whereas the way it stands right now, they have none of that protection.
They do not have that protection from FEMA.
If we were to do this, this would, and in my mind, I'm thinking, this would be a one-year deal with the onus back on the Chesapeake Ranch Club for them to decide how they are going to move forward to have this FEMA coverage. Do Do you know what I'm saying? I
And
mean, I don't.
to formalize their tax district and put
Yes.
together a presentation on
Yes,
doing so.
definitely. I mean, this is gonna help them, and I want them to be protected if we have a catastrophe, but we have got to come together in order for them to decide what they want to do as a community to cover themselves.
So in speaking with the general manager, I understand that they do have a vote coming up in the month of July to raise their internal fees that could help offset the special tax district assessment, so it would not have to necessarily be $275 per lot per year. But I know with 63 miles of private roads in the one community, and all of those roads being all-weather roads now, I know that I believe they would appreciate the fact that you'd have the FEMA coverage, because there's no community with so many miles of roads, private roads, that I'm familiar with in Calvert County or Southern Maryland.
I guess to put in perspective, correct me if I'm wrong on the number, Calvert Route 4, or what is 38 miles long?
From Dunkirk to Solomon.
To kind of give perspective.
Yes.
And I think the county as a whole is only 7 miles wide, if I'm saying that correct. But I think that's
13 at the widest, sir.
13 at the widest, okay, but and Route 4 is 38, and this is 63 miles of road. If I'm saying that right, okay.
Yes, sir.
And can we have something drawn up for that next meeting explaining what Commissioner Grasso just said, that they have 1 year to get their stuff in order, so that we're not in this position again next year?
Well, I believe the message was received loud and clear.
Okay.
Perhaps if you had a motion today to approve extending the special tax district, but with the district paying the assessment of $10 per lot, per assessable lot, then that would certainly help bring that message home.
Good.
The district being,
The
Poet.
special tax district.
okay, all right,
For Poet.
I'll make a motion.
Do we want to hear from,
Are you welcome to? I see the
would you all
gentleman
like
here
to
and
say
Travis is.
anything? Maggie or whoever?
Okay.
Travis.
Good morning. My name is
Morning.
Travis.
Just bring the mic
Squeeze
up.
the little thing, it'll come up.
Good morning. My name is Travis Scott. I'm the president of Chesapeake Ranch Estates Board of Directors. Have been for about 11 years now. Appreciate everything you do, Mr. Norris, especially working with Maggie. We 100% understand the events that unfolded, why things happened the way they did. I'm not a big believer in going back. We need to move forward. So I would very much appreciate any support and all of your support of what Mr. Norris is putting forward today. FEMA is a huge part. We've used it several times. So yes, if you can support what Mr. Norris is trying to do for the FEMA and to spend the $800,000, again, Maggie has projects in the hopper. We didn't expect what happened, so we kind of had things laid out. That would allow us to go. And speaking of the future, certainly in the coming months, we do have plans to come back to y'all. I imagine it'll be another STD. Again, we have a vote going to the community. We heard you loud and clear, understand your feedback. We're attempting self-assessment. It's difficult. As you all know, tax dollars are easier to collect than asking someone, as the gentleman sat here, asking somebody to pay to go over the bridge to go to work every day. So we are attempting self-assessment. We will be coming back to y'all with another thing. Again, message loud and clear. Next public meeting, in my mind, will be very different. My apologies for not attending that meeting. It was y'all's meeting. I was trying to, little church and state there. But be brief, very much appreciate you support Mr. Norris for FEMA and spending the rest of our money. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
None, thank you.
We really do appreciate that. And that night, it was unfortunate when it unfolded. It just put us in a tough situation. And-
Understood.
And I think that we understand the premise of why you need the STD. It's just that night, you know, there was very little support. And it's hard to sit in a room full of people and go against what they say, so.
Understand, sir, if I just give me 20 seconds to comment on that?
Absolutely.
So the way we petitioned y'all through that ordinance is through a representative government. People of the Chesapeake Ranch Estate elected us. We put our 5 names to you. Therefore, we, as the 5 representing the 4,800, in effect, when we asked you for that, we said, here's 4,800 yeses. Even the people that stood there and said no, by electing us and us putting that forward, we had said yes for them. Just like yourselves, if you go to do the bridge thing, if 200 people show up and say, no, no bridge, and you decide as a board that it is for the greater good that you do it, you were elected to do a job, you do the job to represent everyone, it's a hard spot you find yourself in being an elected person. I'm only, the board of the ranch club. Y'all got the county and then there's federal. So I understand the whole thing and just know we didn't take it lightly. And we believe by putting that petition forward, we were representing our constituents. And unfortunately, there were a few that disagreed. And that's why we have elections. If they disagreed with how we were representing them, express yourself through an election. So understood, that's in the past. Moving forward, again, please consider and support Mr. Norris's propositions for us.
If I may, the only thing I would recommend in the future is just doing a brief presentation from the word go. Just in the beginning of it, do a
Yes,
brief
sir.
presentation together, because the FEMA issue alone would have educated a lot of people.
Understood, sir.
Thank you.
We've had this for 26 years. I think on our side especially, maybe there were some foregone conclusions and the education wasn't there for the people and around. So again, message heard loud and clear. It will be a very different, in case you can't tell, I'm a very different speaker than a lot of people. I'm pretty good at this. I do it in my job. It will be very different next time, trust me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Commissioner Hart, you were closer to the correct width of Calvert County. I stand corrected, sir. It's at 9 miles,
Yeah.
not 13.
I wonder, where is it 13
I
miles
was thinking the
wide?
same thing.
But you know what? After I fell down the steps that I argued with him on, I stopped arguing
No.
on it, so
I'm a good arguer.
COVID,
You're
there
correct,
was
sir.
sweets, there was a lot of
We must
candy.
have took part of Charles and St. Mary's.
We don't even need a bridge.
Right, we're already there. Yeah,
I do believe, though, what Mr. Scott was referring to is what the board's kind of developed here is the proposal. What I offered you was not going to give them FEMA protection, but what you've discussed today would provide them FEMA protections.
well, we want to make sure that they have that.
Yes.
So, Mr. President, I move that we extend the Poe Acre Special Tax District for 1 year with the district paying a special assessment of $10 assessable lot, so that the community has FEMA disaster protection while it has the next year to arrive at a sustainable and supported plan for its roads and infrastructure.
Second?
A motion and a second that we extend the Poe Acre Special Tax District for 1 year with the district paying a special tax assessment of $10 assessable lot, so that the community has FEMA disaster protection while it has the next year to arrive at a sustainable and supported plan for its roads and infrastructure. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
So we'll work with communications, media relations, make sure that the residents of Ranch Estates understand they are not going to get billed for this. This is money that has already been collected.
Correct.
It's already in the district's funds. It'll be paid from the district to go back to the district to protect them in the eventuality of a hurricane or disaster, natural disaster.
Please, and there is a Chesapeake Ranch Estates Facebook page as well. Please address that, because you're going to have people that think all of a sudden now they're going to see it in the tax bill and what have you, and that's not the case.
It's not a reversal of the decision of June 13th. June 13th was a request to go on for another years at a amount that would come out of their pocketbooks as a resident. This does not.
Right, and I don't want any misconceptions that
Understood.
all of a sudden it just, reverse back, that this is
Thank you.
something separate.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next item under old business, Office of the County Administrator, Sustainable Communities Program. Good morning.
Good morning.
One more minute. Good morning.
How are you? still there.
Very close. My name is Danielle Russell, Grants Management Program Specialist with the Office of the County Administrator. I'm returning today because staff has completed the Sustainable Communities Designation Renewal application, and it is ready for your review and signature. And we have a very short presentation, I promise. So this is just a very quick review. Sustainable Communities Designation has to be reviewed every 5 years. The application allows local governments to update their Sustainable Communities Action Plan and report on accomplishments made over the past 5 years. Calvert County was first designated on August 21st, 2013, and is seeking its second designation renewal by August 21st, 2023. County staff from Community Resources, Economic Development, Public Works, Parks and Recreation, and Planning and Zoning, and municipal staff from Chesapeake Beach and North Beach have been working in partnership for the designation renewal application. In the application, Section A contains applicant information, including demographics. Section B features the updated Sustainable Communities Action Plan, and Section C includes a qualitative and quantitative assessment of significant projects and improvements completed in the last 5 years. The designation provides a means of targeting scarce public and private resources for multiple state agency investments and prioritizations. Calvert's designated sustainable community area includes 6 communities: the entire municipality of North Beach, a portion of the municipality of Chesapeake Beach, Dunkirk, Lusby, and Solomon's Town Centers, and a portion of the Prince Frederick Town Center. The renewal application is not seeking to change any of the designated areas. These next 2 slides answer a question raised when I was here in April and highlights grant funds that were received and supported projects in our sustainable communities. The Community Legacy Program on this slide is part of the Sustainable Communities Interagency Revitalization Toolbox, and in the last 5 years, Calvert County has received a total of $475,000. The Strategic Demolition Fund Grant Program that you approved earlier today during consent on the agenda is also part of that toolbox, which means we only had access to that program because of the Sustainable Communities designation. This second set of programs, they're not directly part of the toolbox, but supported projects that benefited Calvert County's sustainable communities. These are only the funds received by Calvert County government. They're in the application. North Beach and Chesapeake Beach are also included. But Calvert County government received $12,565,326. Staff is recommending that the Board of County Commissioners authorize the President to sign the signature letter approving the application and direct staff to submit the designation renewal once the municipality signature letters have also been collected. Do you guys have any questions?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Want a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I move that we authorize the President to sign the signature letter approving the application and direct staff to submit the designation renewal once the municipality's signature letters have also been collected.
Second.
Motion and second that we authorize the president to sign the signature letter approving the application and direct staff to submit the designation renewal once these municipality signature letters have been collected. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. See, that was easy.
It was super easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to public comment. We have no county attorney. Read the rules.
Ashley, do you have the rules?
Let me read it.
It's too late.
Oh, we have an attorney.
Welcome, John. Welcome.
Didn't know Ashley was an attorney, did you?
We have a backup plan.
Came in from behind the curtain.
Are we at public comment already?
We are.
Floor has been open for public comment, first from persons in the meeting room who begin making their way up to the microphone, then those joining virtually. All speakers must identify themselves and whether speaking as an individual, will you be allocated 2 minutes, or as the designated representative of the group, will you be allocated 5. For those attending virtually, you may press *9 or use the raise your hand function. Virtual speakers will be identified by the last 4 digits of their phone number or screen name and unmuted one at a time. If necessary, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. And the Ethics Commission has asked us to remind speakers at public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance. Please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier, and I'll be speaking on behalf of Calvert CCAC, the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. I want to first thank Ms. Ashley Staples-Reed and Ms. Katie Britton for all their help this year, doing all the things we do, getting on your calendars and schedules. I want to thank the Commissioners for their continued support, with Commissioner Ireland coming to our CCAC Awards and Commissioner Grasso joining us at the Inclusive Track and Field event. Your support means the world to us because as a marginalized community, and I say that very lightly as an old white guy, I'm coming into my 9th year of advocacy in here in Calvert County, and when I first started it, something somebody told me was, you're not just advocating for your son, you're advocating for all the kids who come after you. So every time I come up here and talk, I'm talking for all the kids that are going to come after my kids. And I appreciate the support and the partnership that we've had with you and the Board of Education, and I look forward to that continuing in the future. Calvert CCAC covers all kids in the county, and while we skew toward those who attend public education, we also recognize that there are students who attend private schools, and we have a large homeschool community here in Calvert County, and I've been reaching out to them about their needs and what they don't have. And not being part of the public school system, they're not afforded the same rights to speech therapy, occupational therapy, psychologists, and social workers that they do in the public school systems. That's really something I'd like to see the health department reach out to the homeschool community more to make sure that at least they have access to those services, because a lot of them are driving to Baltimore or DC to get those services because there just aren't enough providers in the county. That we have a lot of great dentists here, but there's not a lot of support for pediatric children with heavy disabilities to get that dental support, and that is key to their success. So anything we can do on the health department wise to bring training to those people so that they can accept those children into their practices, and anything we can do to bring more services into the county would be greatly appreciated. We love and support our public library system and the Parks and Rec system. Therapeutic Parks and Rec does an amazing job every year to put together things, for all our kids. So we really support all the work that you guys are doing up there to make sure that our kids and our community is being taken care of. So again, I really appreciate all your continued support, and hopefully next year we'll see you guys at a CCAC meeting and at our award ceremony. We're going to try and do it not on a Board of Education night so that we can get more buy-in. But anything we can do, any information that you want to, bring in, we're happy to bring to it. We forwarded to you our newsletter that's got our book study that's going on this summer. So if you'd like to be part of the book study or have someone from your staff, they're more than welcome to join us. And again, just thank you so much for a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
My name is Katie Blevins, and I speak for myself. First, I do not disparage the new school superintendent and his administration, nor the new sheriff and his administration. I know the majority of people in Calvert County are good people. I know 3 of you commissioners are new, and I can differentiate, although I will refer to all of you as a collective body, since you, like the new superintendent and sheriff, have inherited this mess. I've been going up against the system in this corrupt county since spring of 2018. More than anything, I am motivated by the pedophile ring in Calvert County Public Schools, of which I became aware in 2018 after my daughter was bullied by a then Southern Middle assistant principal and a boy we learned the assistant principal was molesting. Fortunately, the last pedophile superintendent and his second-grade Patuxent Appeal teacher wife have been removed, but there are still other known pedophiles in the system, like that assistant principal who was at Southern Middle through spring of 2018, at Plum Point Middle the next year, and now assistant principal at the CTA at Calvert High. County Commission, I can prove you've known all these things and tried to cover them up. Over the next meetings, I will be detailing the pedophile ring, its ties to the former sheriff's drug ring, how the taxpayers have been funding their own destruction, including actually supplying the drug ring, crooked medical providers all over this county who only appear to be pillars of the community, who are prescribing for the drug ring in exchange for free health insurance and other benefits, the county's undeserved AAA bond rating, fly-by-night bond floating process, and the threats, intimidation, and abuse I have been through in pursuing this, along with other things. It's time for the truth, because too many people have been and will be hurt. Heart and hands. I challenge you to say in your comments that anything I've said isn't true. And if you do, you're going to make things worse. But if you say nothing, that's also going to speak volumes. I look forward to receiving the financial records I've requested.
Thank you.
Anyone else? And there is no one on Zoom, Mr. President.
Thank you. That brings us to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Grasso?
Okay.
I was on vacation all last week, but previous to that, well, actually, I did attend by Zoom the BOCC and planning meeting on the 21st. On the 4th, sorry, I can't read my own writing.
I hear you.
That's what you get for doing it real quick. On the 14th, along with the other commissioners, we attended a reception at Mary Ann Harm's beautiful home to meet the new CEO and president of the hospital, Mr. Showers, and we met his lovely family as well. And then yesterday, I was able to tour the COA building to see it and what we're going to put in there, and I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. President. I'm going
Shaking
to go
it.
a different way. Yes, as Commissioner Grasso said, I want to thank Ms. Harms for opening up her house to meet this new CEO of the hospital who we had met before, met his family, great, nice folks, and also the Joint Commission. And no disrespect, I'm not afraid of a challenge. I just don't get into things like that. If you'd like to speak to me at any time, I'm always available. But I'm not going to get into any kind of public disparaging of anybody. And it's not, do I afraid of the challenge or not? I just don't do that out of respect to the chair. But nothing else, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Arlen?
I also attended the hospital function where Jeremy Bradford and his family were there. There was numerous graduation parties over the past several weeks, and more to come, and just everybody stay safe with them. CTA students, numerous students went to nationals this past week to compete. Several placed at nationals, and one actually won the national championship. So I'm quite sure we'll be recognizing them, and prayers for the St. Mary's County family. That's
Absolutely.
the whole firefighting family over there from the tragedy over there this morning.
Commissioner Cox?
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to reiterate what you started with the meeting this morning. We have started updating our zoning ordinance, and we need your help. 2 ways. You can sign up for updated emails. And number 2, you can submit your questions and comments at any time on any chapters to us. So we do need your help, your opinions. Also attended the meet and greet with Jeremy Bradford and his family, and he will be a great asset to our hospital. We do have a car show and fundraiser this weekend at Huntingtown High School for the American Diabetes Association. And keep our prayers for the firefighters that was in line of duty this morning, and also have a safe and happy 4th of July celebration this weekend.
Thank you. And I too, with Commissioner Hart, don't discuss personnel issues in this format. And all the issues that you've presented in the past, I have forwarded on to the Board of Education and have gotten responses back. But we will not discuss that in a public format. Just to follow up on my other 2 commissioners, want to send our prayers out to the family of the Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department for their loss this morning. And 2, want to wish everybody a very happy and safe 4th of July as you celebrate the great independence of this country. That concludes my report. Commissioner Hart?
Yes, sir. I move to recess to executive session pursuant to General Provisions Article Section 3-305B, 1I, B7, and B8 to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom the board has jurisdiction, consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we move into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a great day.